Hi, Coach Darnay here. I'm talking to you a little bit, coming to you to talk to you about quiet time and meditation and not allowing things to distract you from the places where you need to be in meditation. I actually had the most beautiful worship experience last night. And I know that a lot of people don't, spend time in worship. Some people don't believe in God, so they don't worship in the same way that I do worship, or at least I don't think they do. Because I was raised in church, I don't know. I don't have reference for anything other than spending time in worship and prayer, which is very different than meditation. And both of them are equally as important. Because in one instance you align yourself with the quietness that is in you that you need in order to be guided, and in the other instance you strengthen your spirit. And maybe you do that as well in meditation, but I have it kind of splintered off, so it's two different things for me. It might be the same thing for other people, but the point that I'm making is that I was actually having a really great worship experience last night. And it was just me and God. And actually was listening to a song. And I put the song on repeat. And I actually started listening to that song like a day or two before, from a new album that I just got. And my old pastor was singing. And it's weird to call him my old pastor because he's just my pastor in my head. He'll always be my pastor. But he was singing a song, and the song was just so beautiful to me. It talked about how, the power of God works in other people, and you want that same thing to work in yourself. And I likened that to watching my heroes and the people that I pattern my life after, and watching their impact that they have across the globe happen, and wanting that same thing, because I know how they healed me, or they helped me to be healed, helped me to have understanding, helped me to have focus, helped me to hone in on my drive and be okay with being this great big ball of fire that I am, that I've always, in contrast to the fire that I have and that a big ball of fire that I am, have always been told that I needed to be quieter. So 2 years ago, consequently, or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been doing a 90-day series, just because that wasn't something that I was connected to. But because of people like Lisa Nichols, because of people like Allison Bird, because of people like Susie Carter, because of people like Les Brown and Jim Rohn and even Napoleon Hill and other people that I've watched over the years, just they teach me that it's okay to blossom in the places that I am. And that song of that space where it was just the verse was, I've seen you work in other people and I want you to work in me. It resonated with me so much until I really and truly just went into a place where I was like, I want whatever it takes, whatever it takes to give you whatever I have to give you to be able to work and heal people and touch people's lives and change people, is what I want. And so whatever I have to give up, whatever I have to learn or get and do, because that's what I want to do. And I say it like that because I know that there is no thing that you can get without growth and development. And in growth and development, you put on things and you take off things. You build up places in your life that need to be built up, and things that need to die on the way for you having, becoming that place, that person, that thing, in that space that you need to be. That conduit, by the way, is what I call that thing, that conduit, that place where you can literally receive and give out. By you getting ready to become that, things drop off that don't fit in that space. And they're not always pleasant. The dropping off doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always feel like a weight coming off. Sometimes it feels like a part of you is dying or you've lost something. And in those instances, I just want to remember that place of worship that I was in yesterday, where I was just like, I want everything that you said I'm supposed to have. Not in the physical things sense, but I've it's that same idea of living full and leaving empty. It's that same idea of really and truly, like Oprah said a while ago. I was watching her years ago, and she was talking about how, one day she just told God, use me until you use me up. And that was from a song, Bill Withers, I guess, sings it. And it's like, oh, you just keep on using me until you use me up. And so that kind of idea of God, use me until you use me up, until there is no gift that I've left unearthed and fully exposed and completely expanded to its capacity. And so in that instance of prayer and meditation and worship, and where I was, shortening the story, I had a person, and my friend popped his head in because, he was like, he was looking for, I can't remember what he was looking for, the fan or something, and I put it away, and where is the fan? And he saw me, and I was, crying and, worship, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yes. And, there was a place where my attention began to be diverted. Because, of course, somebody comes in your space where you're meditating, where you are spending time in the peace of the moment, or you're connecting, and somebody else comes in that space to kind of grab some attention from you. It does distract you. It does divert you. But in that moment of being slightly distracted, I was able to just kind of pull my head up for a second and say, what do you need? And go right back into it. And he was like, I heard him in the background going, are you okay? Blah, blah, this and that. And I'm like, I'm fine. I pull up, I'm fine. What do you need? And I go right back into it. And he's like, well, are you sure you're crying? And I'm like, I'm fine. What do you need? And then finally I just had to say, I am having a moment with God here. And I'm giving you as much of my energy as I possibly can right now, but you can't have more than this. And you're about to lose this. So you need to tell me what you need now, because I can't stay here with you long. I have to get back to this. And in those instances of concentrated prayer, and that's concentrated meditation, concentrated moments where you connect, there will be places and spaces where people can come in, and noise outside, babies crying, husbands coming in, sons, children, TVs, or whatever the distraction. Even your own mind can be a distraction sometimes. But I'm encouraging you in those moments where things are distracting and things could be this, things could be that, just pull it back in. Napoleon Hill talks about this space of meditation and prayer as his highest wall that no one can ever penetrate. It's the place where he and his creator, quoting him specifically, this is how much I've listened to that CD series. Quoting him specifically, he says, this is the place where my creator and I commune, and no one has the right to come in here. You might be able to come and distract me a little bit, but you can't come in here. This is sacred space. And I encourage you to make that time of prayer, of meditation, sacred. Where even the people that you love may come in to distract you. Teach them that they're not allowed to do that. My son has been my son for 24 years. So he knows, and he's watched me worship and watched me meditate all of his life. So he knows if he comes in and the worship music is on and I am not acknowledging him, That it's not that I don't love him, that I don't care about him, that I don't appreciate him, but it's my time with God, and that's my time. And I need that, and he needs to let me have that. And the same instance, if I walk in and he's in worship or he's in meditation, I give him his space because I understand the importance of that. And people say, well, how did you teach him that? How do you teach a kid to not disturb you during meditation time, during prayer time, during intimate time with your spouse? Because kids call you and they this, that, and the other, and they bust in your door and this and that. You teach them by just saying to them, this is what I'm doing, and you need to not be in this space. If you have to say, when this door is closed and me and Daddy are on the other side, you knock. If we don't answer, you don't come in. It works. I'm a living witness. And also, the same thing with meditation and prayer. If I am in the place where I am meditating, that is not a place where I'm trying to have you in. In fact, when I first started meditating, and when he was little, I actually used to he would sit on my lap. And because I was still in quiet, he became still and quiet. Because I was praying, he began to pray. Little. He was little. And it used to amaze the grown people at church that my baby would sit on my lap and pray in my lap with me. But that's what, on my knees. I would be on my knees. He would be on my lap and we would just pray. But that's what I taught him because he needed to understand what that sacred space was. So that when it was time for him to have his own sacred moments, that he would not allow that space to be anything but sacred. And then that he would respect it from the other perspective. So back to my moment where I was praying and worshiping, and Jay comes in the door and he's like, hey, and he's and then when he got it, because I don't disturb him. When he got it, first his thing was, are you okay? Because you're crying. When he got that it was worship and that I don't need you in this space. I need you to let me have my moment. He absolutely let me have it. And I just, I want you to remember that that's the place where you get recharged, where you get reborn, where you get rebirthed, where you get to drop all of the things that make you this big bad person out in the world and become the creation who lays under the Creator. Becomes the creation that connects to the universal intelligence and allows it to be more intelligent than you. Allows yourself to know nothing. It's the same idea of lose yourself and find your purpose. Lose your ego and find your purpose. That's the place where no ego is allowed. There's no space for ego in prayer and meditation. Because you can never receive from God. You can never receive from universal intelligence if you know everything. You don't need him. If you are not willing to submit and say, work in me. Teach me, show me, unlock the stuff for me that I need to know to get to where I'm trying to go, you won't get there. So remember that your sacred spaces are for you and the Creator alone. And that there is no place that is more sacred than that in your life. And if you don't have meditation and prayer time, I suggest strongly, I highly encourage, I beseech you, going biblical, that you really and truly work to have places and spaces that are just you and him. Just you and Source or the Creator or the universe or whatever you call him. For me, he is my God, my King. I encourage you to have places where nobody else can reach you but him. Where nobody else is allowed to reach you but him. Because that's the place where everything springs from. Your purpose, Your joy, your happiness, your peace, your contentment, your understanding, your intelligent moves, your witty inventions, they all come from that place. And without that, we are nothing. Life in 4G is living in God, living a life of giving, living a life of gratitude, and living unapologetically in your greatness. Be meditative, be prayerful, and live a powerful life.